So I mentioned this book during my conversation with Paul Rossi, the teacher who blew the whistle on critical race theory and anti-racism in the public school system. And it was also mentioned, it was actually originally brought to my attention during a Tim Pool show where he had a guest on that brought in the book and showed it to people. So I looked into the book and I found that there are a few different videos where this book is publicly read, and I assume the entire purpose of this is so that teachers can use it as a teaching aid. From what I learned during the Tim Pool video about this, from his guest, was that book was like massively bought and then distributed in the schools to elementary school aged children. The presentation and the way that this book is put together, it clearly looks like it's meant for very young elementary age kids. So we're going to watch it, and I'm going to periodically pause it and comment.
Hey everybody, my name's John. Welcome to Seriously Read a Book. Today we're going to read Not My Idea, a book about whiteness by Anastasia Higginbotham. She writes books about subjects that adults find hard to discuss with kids. So this is what they call like a foreword or a dedication. In a 1993 interview, Toni Morrison said about racism in America, white people have a very, very serious problem and they should start thinking about what they can do about it. She added, "Take me out of it." Those words landed in me as a direct command. I made this book for my own white sons with help from their teachers and mine. It's dedicated to the Brooklyn Free School, where my family was first called upon to engage with whiteness in order to dismantle white supremacy. Also, this book is written to start a conversation in your family. Feel free to watch this video and leave in the comments, like, what do you think of it? What do you think of these ideas?
Which we can't do because they disabled comments. And every book reading video I've found on this has disabled the comments.
I have my own thoughts, but I'm really interested in yours. Okay, here we go. When grown-ups try to hide scary things from kids, oh no, not again. Oh, and look at what she's looking at over here. Can you tell what that is? Yeah, it looks like a hand holding a gun. What? Mom, what? Not again, says the little girl. It's usually because they're scared too. Who is that with their hands up? Why is that policeman screaming at him? Bang, 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 bang. Wow, how do you imagine she's feeling there? I guess she's looking at the TV seeing that. They want to bury the truth. Can you tell what that hand is about to hit there? Yeah, it looks like the power button on a remote control to me. You don't need to worry about this. You're safe. Understand? Little girl's thinking no.
Now I want to comment for a moment here on the whole premise that we started this book with, which was in your classrooms, you want to introduce the idea to your kids that there are things that their parents might be hiding from them. And that's a conversation that needs to be had between parents and kids, not by third parties with agendas.
Our family is kind to everyone. We don't see color. Deep down, we all know color matters.
So this is basically a response to what, a non-racist parent would say. Our family is kind to everyone. We don't see color. And this book challenges that immediately after already setting the precedent that you can't trust your parents, that they're going to keep things from you. So we have deep down, we all know that color matters. So, once again, we're putting, a concept of anti-racism and CRT into the minds of very young children, while at the same time telling them that they don't necessarily have to trust that their parents are telling them everything.
Oh, and look at what the little girl's drawing. Can you see that? Yeah, what is that? Skin color makes a difference in how the world sees you and in how you see the world. I want to bring my aunt a gift. This will only take a minute, says the mother. In walks the girl into some store as she's wearing a hoodie. It makes a difference in how much trouble seems to find you or let you be. And this is interesting. You have a security guard here. There are two kids. Each of them is looking at breakable items. Who's the security guard paying attention to? Can you see the prices on these things? Right, so the price on these guys is like $8, $10. The price over here, $15. So if something gets broken, what's the worst thing that could get broken? Right? These guys. But where's the security guard looking? Yeah. In stores, in cars, on sidewalks, at school, your skin color affects the most ordinary daily experiences, including, oh, yeah. Tell what's going on there. Looks like she's quite happy, and there's some policemen in the background. She's sort of playing a game or something, not even noticing the cops really, including which neighborhoods welcome you and which ones don't. So relieved you got here safely. Looks like a grandmother character. Why wouldn't we? The protests. They're blocking the road, says some fellow from an armchair. I'm guessing it's a grandfather. Marchers came to demand justice for the unarmed African American. They demand an end to killings across the nation, part of a shameful pattern that has claimed the lives particularly of young men of color. Marchers referenced past victims and a video taken by a bystander. Says
So we need to talk to our very young elementary age kids about killings across the nation. And we need to understand that apparently they're going to be able to process that information.
TV. Breaking news. Family speaks out on police shooting. Yeah, what do you think's happening there? How do you imagine those folks feel? You may get the message that racism is happening only to black and brown people. I can't watch the news. That police officer was just doing his job, says the mother. Racism is a white person's problem, and we are all caught up in it. Mostly by refusing to look at it. You can face this. Come away from the TV now. Look, I made your favorite. Oh, and there's her favorite. Look at that. Brownies. Ha ha.
So this is once again suggesting to the child that the adults that are actually their parents and family are going to manipulate them into not looking at this racial issue the way that people in the critical race theory circles would want you to.
Oh, and look, this is a nice home, right? Like, this is a good home where people love each other. Like, bless this mess. There's a cross there. You have apples out. Racial justice. We must step up, says something on the TV. Understanding the truth takes courage, especially a painful truth about your own people, your own family. Are you all right? Says the mother, looking at her from in the rearview mirror. You think she's all right? Even people you love may behave in ways that show they think they are the good ones. That's interesting. It's like one hand is holding a pocketbook, the other hand is locking the door. They appear to be in a neighborhood where there are mostly people with brown skin. That could be a racist move.
Or it could be a move because you know you're in a high crime area and you don't want to get carjacked. But this is, again, an example of them trying to set the kids against the parents. Because it implies that the parents are doing something wrong, and puts, again, the people in the classroom as the ones that they should be listening to.
Right. So they're going to a public library. Racism was not your idea. You don't need to defend it. I'll be over here if you need me, okay? Says the mother. You can bring your curiosity to learn about it and see that it's true. Going down the steps, she sees a book called Our Shared History. In the United States of America, white people have committed outrageous crimes against black people for 400 years. All along, every step of the way, people who love justice and love each other have been fighting back.
Notice that it says white people as a whole, like a monolith, that all white people are accountable for this and that white people as a whole did this. It doesn't mention abolitionists, it doesn't mention all of the people who died during the Civil War, etc., etc. It sets the stage for white people bad.
Many white people did things they never should have done. Denied opportunity, there was bank loan denied, notice of eviction, that's where you kick someone out of a house, denied housing, denied voting rights, voter registration tests. They used to give these to people who they knew couldn't pass them, so that to make sure that they couldn't vote, right? Those policies were targeted at people mostly who were African American, to make sure that African Americans couldn't vote. Many other white people failed to see the problem with this. They exploited the love and labor of black women. Yes, ma'am, says a brown-skinned lady holding a white kid. Isn't that interesting? Little white kids clothed with dollar bills. There. Yeah. These choices put wealth and power into white hands, homes, and neighborhoods. Right, so the systems for getting loans, having a home, and voting have been rigged against black folks and for people who have skin that looks like mine. Yeah, in the United States.
You notice the way this guy conducts himself as if we're watching an episode of Blue's Clues or Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers? All of these, like, kind of mannerisms are designed to get into the mind of a child.
White people joined the leaders of black liberation. Angelina Grimke and Sarah Grimke, abolitionists, suffragists, sisters, Julian Bond and members of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, 1963, Liberation Equals Love and Freedom, Nina Simone, 1967, she's an amazing singer, by the way.
Well, I'm glad that they are actually mentioning some white abolitionists now.
Nuns and fellow marchers on the Selma to Montgomery March, 1965, John Lewis and fellow demonstrators kneel, 1962. Hello, Mr. Lewis. Colin Kaepernick kneels, 2017. Hello, Mr. Kaepernick. Racism is still happening. It keeps changing and keeps being the same. Yeah, how do you feel like, what do you think she's feeling there? If I had to guess, I would say overwhelmed, right? This is a big part of history that people don't even know how to talk to kids about. And yet, just being here, alive in this moment, you have a chance to care about this, to connect. And there she is back in the library for some other kids. Chance to connect. But connecting means opening, and opening sometimes feels like breaking. That's how opening is. Our car's parked over here, love, says her mom. Mom, I don't feel good. Uh-oh, should I pull over? Says her mother. I need to know what's going on. What are you talking about? Why didn't anyone teach me real history? I do see color. I see yours, mine, and everybody's. You can't hide what's right in front of me.
So now we're going to illustrate, encouraging children to fight with their parents on this topic.
Says the little girl. I know that what that police officer did was wrong.
More of the same, all capital letters. Let's just encourage kids to have some kind of dramatic fight with their parents.
She says, as her mother's driving, go with your instincts on this one. Racial justice is possible. Okay, geez, you don't have to yell. But only if we're honest with each other and ourselves. I see a playground over there. Want to get some air? Yes! She runs over. She's playing. There's some more kids. Your history is not all written yet. What do you want it to say? The end. And then, because Anastasia Higginbotham is fun and creates little things at the ends of her books, here are some activities. Want to know whose liberation you're fighting for? Your own. White supremacy has been lying to kids for centuries. White supremacy is pretend. The truth is much simpler. Dangerous. Not dangerous. Whiteness is a bad deal. It always was. All right, here's a contract binding you to whiteness. You get stolen land, stolen riches, special favors, and then there's a little footnote that says land, riches, and favors may be revoked at any time for any reason. Whiteness gets to mess endlessly with the lives of your friends, neighbors, loved ones, and all fellow humans of color for the purpose of profit. The only price is your soul. Sign below.
So let's look directly at what kind of imagery we're using here. We're suggesting that being white is like giving your soul, like they even just use like a religious context, to Satan. And what is whiteness represented as? Well, money, but also like, here we have it, the devil, like with the tail coming out and the flames overhead. So now not only is, whiteness like some kind of entity that can interact with you, apparently, it's also literally Satan. This is like those white devils like you would hear from black racists, in their angry sermons.
Dude, we can see your pointy tail. Yeah, who do you think is trying to make this deal? Not an angel. You can be white without signing on to whiteness. Then this talks about Juliet Hampton Morgan, born 1914, died 1957. Do not mess with me. Then this talks about what she did. She was a white librarian who fought for racial justice in Montgomery, Alabama. When Juliet was riding the bus and the white driver would refuse to pick up a black bus rider even after he collected their fare, this was common, by the way, Juliet would pull the emergency cord and raise HE double hockey sticks until the driver did his job. This was an act of love for herself and for the community to which she belonged.
HE double hockey sticks is hell.
What she did is called disrupting white supremacy. Grow justice. This is something you can do. Inside yourself like a bean sprout in a milk carton. What if it dies? Plant it again. Never stop planting justice. And earlier in the book, I don't know if you remember, she says that justice is love plus compassion. And oftentimes it comes with some action. A strong internal sense of justice will not fail you, even when a lack of justice in the world does. Innocence is overrated. Knowledge is power. And it says, color this in. So you guys could get this book and color that in. Or feel free to create a giant banner and write knowledge is power and hang it in your bedroom.
Innocence is overrated? What?
Knowledge is power. Get some, grow wise, make history. Make history, y'all. And then this talks about Anastasia. Her books about ordinary terrible things tell stories of children who navigate trouble with their senses sharp and souls intact. And that's
Go along with CRT or lose your soul to Satan.
my hope for you, that you can do that too. Help may come from family, counselors, teachers, and dreams, but it's the children who find their own way through. Anastasia has been making books by hand her whole life as a way to cope with change and grow. You can too. So not only can you read books, not only can you watch some dude reading you a book on YouTube, you can make books. Feel free to make one. If you make one, will you let me know? I'd love to see it. And that's it. This is Not My Idea, a book about whiteness written and illustrated by Anastasia Higginbotham. Y'all, if you like this book, like, subscribe, click the bell, and if you loved it, pass this video along to someone you love.
Well, I'm going to pass this video along to my viewers because I think this book is horseshit. But, what's annoying is that I read books about racism when I was younger, and they, didn't take this approach at all. But it comes back to what I said earlier. That's the most chilling part about this, is that this is like, as Mr. Rossi and I talked about, this is grooming. The entire purpose of this is grooming. It's not grooming for sexual abuse, it's grooming for mental abuse. We're going to plug in a bunch of information that doesn't necessarily make sense. We're going to give you our alternative versions of facts. We're not going to give the statistics that, completely tell the story. We're going to weave a narrative. And if you don't go along with it, you're giving your soul to the devil. So we're playing on separating kids from their parents, encouraging them to fight with their parents about this issue, and, basically threatening their afterlife. So even from the religious perspective, this is what you're saying. If you don't go along with this, you're going along with the devil. So I guess ask yourself if you think that this book should be distributed to kids at the elementary age in schools. Thanks for listening.